Hey everyone, I've gotten a couple of requests to make videos more focused on mini games, so this is going to be a standalone video just going over all the different details in Khanopoly. I'm just going to explain every aspect of this mini game, and that will be it for this video. So every mini game has a different way of distributing rewards to you. One of the ways is going to be through the ranking, and there will be the rewards, there will be achievements. Some games will have a shop that goes with them in some form or another. In Khanopoly, that's the mystery shop. So in the mystery shop, what you're trying to do is you're trying to wait until a lot of the bad tiles have already been flipped by someone else. For example, these silver items are complete trash, so if you see them flipped already, that makes the board better. The less of these items, especially the medallion's like 2 or 3 times, probably 3 times as good as any of the other items. So you can consider the medallion like 3 times as important as any of these other ones. But the less of these have been discovered yet, the better the board gets. So you just want to check the board, the mystery shop, occasionally and see how good it looks. Yes, Shiloh, I'm making a video right now. No. So right now this board is pretty decent because some of the silver is flipped already, and the medallion hasn't been flipped yet. So this isn't a great board, but it's decent. It's worth using a few flips on this one. And we're not getting lucky. So that was basically a bunch of wasted flips. We didn't get anything. The board is even better now than it was before because we just flipped a lot of trash tiles, and now the tiles that are remaining have a much higher likelihood of being good. We could try over here, but this board is pretty bad right now. There's only the worst item left. The legendary equip scroll is actually not that great, and there's a ton of empty tiles still left. So this board right here is really bad, and we don't even want to flip anything on it. It's just not worth it. It'd be a waste. So we'll leave that alone. As far as the ranking goes, the ranking could be more or less worthwhile depending on what kind of pairing you have. So you can see over here I've got a personal ranking of 91, meaning I'm not pushing very high, and here I'm at 7. I'm going to try to aim for top 5. The ranking in rushes has a similar distribution as the ranking in mini games. So what I mean by that is the first bracket is first place, then it goes second place, then it goes third place, and for both rushes and mini games, 4th and 5th are equal, meaning 5th is always a better spot than 4th because 5th takes less effort but the rewards are the same. Then 6th to 10 is always another bracket. That means 10th place is a lot better than 6th because 10th takes a lot less effort and has the same rewards as 6th. Same with 11th to 20th. 20th is much better than 11th because 20th takes far less effort and has the same rewards as 11th. So you always kind of want to try to get into the lower portion of whatever bracket you're aiming for. Like getting 18th or 19th is pretty good. Being in 20th place is not that great. It's a little too risky because you might get bumped down to 21st. Same with this. You don't really want to be in 10th because you might get bumped down at the last minute. It's better to be in like 9th or 8th. Here 5th is okay as long as you have a decent lead over 6th place. If 6th place is really close to 5th, then it's better to just aim for 4th. In Khanopoly, at least, 3rd isn't that much worse than 2nd. 2nd does get, a pretty decent amount more loot, but 2nd place oftentimes is a lot harder than 3rd. It really depends. You have to look at the ranking and see what people's scores are. So in this case, 2nd place has a decent lead over 3rd, but 1st place has a much bigger lead over 2nd. And that's usually what you'll see, not always. Here, 4th place really should be contesting 3rd because the difference between them in points isn't that much, but the difference in rewards is pretty big. And here, I'm not that far behind 5th place, so I'm definitely going to try to overtake 5th. Whereas 4th has a decent lead over me, so I probably won't try to overtake them. Those are the kind of things that you want to look at in both mini games and rushes, just to figure out how much work is it going to take to move up another ranking space, and how good are the rewards going to be. And you can evaluate whether or not it's worth it using the spreadsheet that values item data that I showed in an earlier video if you want to, or you can just eyeball it. Either way is fine. These rewards, you get these ones just by playing the game, and then these are ones that you pay to unlock. In general, this is a bad place to invest money if you're going to put really money into the game. Other rewards tend to be better use of money in the game, I find. The only time I might possibly recommend buying these is if you're just dumping huge amounts of money in the game and you just want to spend on whatever you can. In that case, have at it, but in general, I wouldn't recommend it. The achievements are often horde based as well as personal based. I often find that it's good to try to min-max these in lowland, but I don't really worry about it too much in Khanopoly. Shiloh, be quiet. And then we'll get into the actual game itself. So Khanopoly is sort of like a knockoff of Monopoly, except it works a little differently. So when you're on a really well-developed account and the ranking pairing is difficult, I don't really advise putting diamonds into the cities. What putting diamonds into the cities does is it makes you get these rewards instead of these. So these tokens right here, those are used on that board that I showed you earlier where you can try to get the medallion. So it gives you 3 times as many points towards that. You need 100 points for a flip. So this is like 1/10 of a flip, and this gives you close to 1/3 of a flip. And then this scroll right here gives about half as much equipment as this one. So it doubles your equipment, it triples your flip chances. This is the same thing as getting 1 purple scroll, which is worth about half as much as a summon seal. So basically, for spending 60 diamonds, you get half a summon seal, about 200 points towards improving your ranking on the ranking, about 1/5 of a board flip, and it doubles the scroll value. You get all that for 60 diamonds. That's not as nearly as good of a value as spending diamonds on the minigame stamina, where you buy it right here, because right here it's only 90 for 5 rolls. That's pretty good. But it's still not bad. I think the only thing that's higher value than spending 60 diamonds here would be maybe the night market store, maybe Feast Rush, and minigame stam. Possibly once your Legion gets really upgraded, spending to get bombs might be a slightly better value too. But other than all of those things, the next best value would probably be spending on Khanopoly. So if you're able to do those other things I mentioned and you still have diamonds left over, then it's good to go ahead and put diamonds into your Khanopoly stuff. Otherwise, if you're really short on diamonds, then maybe avoid it. I would say on low-level starting accounts like this VIP01 over here, it's definitely a better value to go for these because it tends to be a little easier to rank up in the rankings on newer servers that have been started more recently. They're less active, so you can climb the rankings easier. The equipment scroll is more worthwhile when your account is first starting out because it's just your advisors are so weak when you're starting out. Equipment is still somewhat decent. So on this account right now, I've been spending diamonds on upgrading the cities, and on this one, I'm a little short on diamonds. I need to save up more for Feast Rush, so I haven't been doing it. That's kind of the rationale behind whether or not you might want to upgrade villages. The help zone is a great place to get more of these gift notes for free. Whenever there's a little notification on the help zone, you can hit anybody that you haven't hit recently, any marked bandits. So that's an advantage of having a more active horde when you're playing Khanopoly, is it'll be more marked bandits, so you can farm more free gift notes off these free hits. And so that'll help you get higher in the rankings. That's what gift notes do. Gift notes are for your ranking, and then these things, the Oasis tokens, those are for earning a flip in the mystery board, which is where you can try to get the medallion. So that's what those are for. One of the important things in Khanopoly is realizing that every time you pass go, this tile right here, Horde Camp is what they call it, you get these rewards for passing it, and you get these rewards for landing on it. So passing it is great, landing on it is pretty decent too. One of the ways that you can make sure that you land on this tile more often is whenever you get invited to one of these mystery passages, like this one or this one, if you get an invite from an ally to go to it, pass go first, because if you pass go and then accept it, it'll pull you forward either to here or all the way to here, which will bring you much closer to passing go again. And you want to pass go as many times as possible. So basically making sure that you've just passed go before you accept invite to one of these two things. That will make it so that you can circle the board more times, pass go more often, and you'll rack up more points. There's another thing called fame in Khanopoly. Now, fame is earned just when you anybody in the horde spends stamina. It has nothing to do with upgrading villages. And the more stamina people have spent, the better different things become. The barracks becomes better, your bandit hits become stronger, and you earn more gift notes. Weirdly enough, what this means is the more of your energy you spend later in Khanopoly rather than early on, the more efficient your rewards are. But if everybody in the horde takes that philosophy, then it gets pretty cramped towards the end. So I would say just use your stamina when you can. Another reason for that is you often have to wait in between using stamina, and the reason why is when you land on a bandit, like this for example, mark them. Now I kind of have to wait until somebody finishes it. Because if I don't wait until somebody finishes that bandit and then I try to mark a new bandit, I'll have to switch that one out before it's finished, and that means I won't get these rewards. If you switch out which bandit is marked with another one before you receive the rewards for defeating it, then those just disappear into oblivion. And that's the reason why you don't really want to hoard all of your stamina till the end, even though the fame tier makes using it towards the end more efficient. It's because if you hoard it all towards the end, you won't have time to use it all up while waiting for the bandits to be killed. And losing out on the bandit rewards is much worse than not getting the extra efficiency from the fame tier. So I don't recommend pooling up all your stamina at the end. You should just use it as you earn it to make sure that you have time to wait until your bandits are cleared before you advance on. Now there are some times where you can move a little bit, even if the bandit hasn't been cleared yet. For example here, if we had an invite to a passage waiting and we just marked this bandit, it's actually okay to roll again, because the odds that we'll hit this bandit are very low, whereas the odds that we'll make it past go and be able to accept, the invite to the passage are pretty high. So we could still roll one more time here. And again, I'm on the account where using diamonds is effective, so I'll go ahead and force them in. Now at this point it's a little more nebulous because we do have a chance to hit this guy if we roll here. And since I don't have an invite to a passage pending, I'm just going to go ahead and wait, because that's the safest thing to do here. I can play a little more over here while I'm waiting. And I'm not spending diamonds over here. I guess another thing I'll mention is the golden dice. You can buy golden dice for about 500 diamonds, and there's some different rewards that produce them as well. In general, I would say it's not worth it to buy golden dice. 500 diamonds is a little bit of a steep price. I would say they're probably worth somewhere more around like maybe 300 diamonds. The useful thing for the golden dice is to use them to target either the medallions. Be quiet, please. To either get the medallions up there, or you could use the golden dice to get more of these if you're building Marco Polo. But if you're not building Marco Polo, then these are kind of worthless. And on the lower level servers, sometimes they don't give Marco Polo, they give the War Maiden shards, which are even worse. These are really garbage. So the reason why this passage tends to be a little better is it brings you closer to passing go, which gives you more points. But the rewards in it often are a lot more situational and not quite as good as the medallions here. The medallions are worth about 5 to 6 talent pouches, and each talent pouch is worth about roughly 2 summon seals. Just giving you a rough idea. That means each of these medallions is worth about 12 summon seals, so yeah, that's pretty good. You don't have to worry about landing on the apprentice assassins when you have a bandit marked. The reason why is you can always kill them in one hit, so you don't ever have to mark them. So if you have these barricades, you don't have to use them. Most of your Khanopoly items will get wiped after the event ends. But these barricade items, they won't get wiped. So you can save them up in between Khanopolies. You can save them from one Khanopoly to the next, they won't get wiped. So that's good to know. So my next Oasis token reward is going to be doubled. That means if I land on a city, I want to upgrade it, even if I'm not planning on normally upgrading them. The reason why is because then the amount that gets doubled will be higher. This is a useless tile. Never buy this junk. It's really overpriced. If you land on Mystery Merchant, it basically means your move was wasted. Don't ever buy anything there. Now I'm stuck in the mud. Just press help and then go do something else for a while. It's not worth wasting a full stamina to get out of the mud. What else should I tell you guys? So another thing is, it's good to get these barracks spots all filled up as quickly as you can. I don't think it's really worth using a golden dice on it. And just like barrack slots, you don't want to put an advisor that's completely maxed out on all their talents into these, because if you do, the talent they're getting here is going to waste. If you do get an opportunity to send blockades or robbers to another horde, it costs diamonds to do so, and I generally don't advise it. The reason why is because one, it invites retaliation from the other horde. Two, it doesn't really give you any rewards or resources to do that while it costs you diamonds. It does slow the other horde down just a little bit, but the amount you get out of that really isn't worth the amount of diamonds it costs. So I don't recommend doing that. Just as a note, you'll notice the terrain around your board does change as you go on. The more fame your horde gets, the more trees grow and stuff like that. Actually, I think it might be tied to the level of your buildings. I'm not sure. But anyway, the further you progress, the more the terrain gets greener and greener. That's really all I had to say about Khanopoly. I think I pretty much covered everything there is to note. If I missed anything or if you have any questions about it, you can let me know in the comments.